House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan and House Ways and Means Chair Jason Smith sending subpoenas to 4 FBI and IRS officials involved with the Hunter Biden tax probe. Chairman says those officials were either present or have direct knowledge of an October 2022 meeting where Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss allegedly said he was prevented from bringing charges against Hunter. So Jordan released a statement saying, quote, Americans deserve to know the truth, especially now that Attorney General Garland has appointed as special counsel the same U.S. attorney who oversaw Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal. Joining me now, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, good morning. Your reaction to Jim Jordan's move here, in particular these subpoenas. This is a very serious move by Jim Jordan.
It is. You know, Congress, believe it or not, doesn't like to issue subpoenas against executive branch agencies. They'd rather just get the testimony or the documents through informal collaboration, but that typically hasn't happened on a lot of these cases. So that's why you see them increasingly resort to subpoenas. You know, the other issue here is what's the mirror of this? Well, what's going on in the Justice Department? Are they doing an investigation of themselves into this obstruction of justice? You have the special counsel, Weiss, who frankly should be the subject of a special counsel investigation, because what we're hearing from these whistleblowers, and it's been confirmed 6 ways to Sunday, is that there was an obstruction of the Biden investigation. They were restricted as to who they could look at and questions they could ask that they typically would be able to ask in other investigations. And I mean, these types of questions that could have led to Joe Biden himself, other family members who look to be receiving money. And then Weiss comes in and he's talking about being obstructed, practically speaking, by the Justice Department. And I don't know, Cheryl, if you've seen the stories over the weekend in the New York Times and Politico, where Hunter Biden's team essentially confesses to pressuring the Justice Department in a way that, barring, if not for the whistleblowers coming forward, would have resulted in no charges for Hunter Biden, let alone Joe. Well,
and I'm glad that you brought up, his former lawyer, Chris Clark. Remember, he had also, at the time, basically threatened prosecutors on the Hunter Biden tax and gun charges that President Biden would have to come and testify, that he unquestionably would be a fact witness for the defense in any criminal trial. I mean, that is a heavy-handed threat that came from Chris Clark, and then next thing you know, sweetheart deal, kind of a not a surprise on that one. Amber Athey's on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Tom, thanks for being here. On this point about David Weiss being appointed the special counsel in the midst of this House oversight investigation, there's been a lot of speculation as to the timing of that. And an obvious point is that Weiss can't be subpoenaed now, apparently, in this probe. He is now protected by this status. Do you think that is the reason that he was given it?
Well, that's something the Justice Department's going to allege, that, there's an ongoing investigation, we can't talk about it. Of course, they talk about ongoing investigations all the time, so that's a big lie. The other piece of false information that they put out there suggests that Congress can't ask questions about ongoing investigations or people involved in ongoing investigations. And there's no immunity under law or in the Constitution that protects Justice Department officials from having to testify to Congress, no matter what their title is.
I want to move on to the other issue here. Big news crossing last night. Former President Trump is going to turn himself in to the Fulton County Jail in Georgia. That's going to be Thursday. His bail has been set $200,000. His arraignment, his first court appearance, reportedly are going to happen sometime in the next month. So prosecutors there did charge the former president with 13 felonies related to the investigation into the 2020 election. Tom, your thoughts so far in how this is playing out for the former president in Georgia?
Well, it further highlights the kangaroo court nature of the proceedings down there. The idea that a former president would be subjected to bail conditions, to me, is absurd, involving cash. Well, what's going on in Fulton County? Who is running Georgia that they're allowing this prosecutor to start running the presidential election? The judge essentially says, if you say anything I don't like about this current case, you could go to jail potentially. And if I were President Trump, I'd be going to federal court today seeking relief from this. I know Mark Meadows last week quickly asked the federal court to remove these proceedings away from Fulton County up to federal court because of the immunity issues related to the presidency. Certainly President Trump has those authorities. And I'm also concerned about how he's going to be treated down there. Fulton County Jail is notorious. It's unsafe. No person under Secret Service protection should be anywhere near that facility. But instead, they're going to put people at risk, in my view, by making them go through this perp walk. However careful they pretend to be about it, it's an abuse.
Tom, you mentioned Mark Meadows. Do you think that Mark Meadows could potentially turn on President Trump?
Well, you know, you only get to there's nothing to turn on. You know, he's being indicted for non-crimes, which is a desire to ensure that the election result was different than the one that was formalized ultimately by Congress. There's no law against doing that. There's no law, at least according to the prior Justice Department position, about keeping records that you consider to be personal, which is the other big issue Trump's facing. So, you know, these are indictments about nothing. And it's one thing to be harassed because of unfairly abused in the course of committing crimes, right? Here, he's being abused in the course, you know, under a prosecution of non-crimes. I've never seen anything like it in American history in terms of a former president being targeted like this.
Tom Fitton. Tom, it's great to see you as always. Thank you.